All right, welcome to Chapter 3. Today we're going to be talking about Section 3.1, which is dealing with angle pairs and the transversals. This front cover of your note packet probably make a little more sense after 3.2. I'm going to challenge you guys to figure out if you can find all the angles on this. It will be a bonus video to help you out to look at that and how to figure out all the angles. Definitions. There's the definitions. You can feel free to pause and get those copied down. Parallel lines. If we look at line AD, if AD is parallel, which lines are parallel to AD? WBC, GH, FE. There's actually three sets of parallel lines in this cube. DC would be parallel to AB, FG, and EH. And then vertical lines DE, AF, BG, and CH. Parallel planes. There's 6 sides or 6 planes in a cube. Top and the bottom would be parallel to each other. Left and right would be parallel. Front and back would be parallel. Skewed lines. Now this is a new terminology for us, or a new term for us. And if we look at line AB or AD here, which lines are skewed? Well, AB isn't. AF, DC, and DE is not either, because those are all intersecting lines. BC, GH, and FE are parallel. But if we look at CH, and CH goes on forever and ever this way, and it goes on forever and that way, and AD does that too. They go in a different direction. It looks like they might hit each other here, but they won't, because CH is in a different plane than AD, so they'll never hit each other, but they're not necessarily parallel to each other either. So that's what we're going to call skewed. BG would be another skewed line, GF, and HE. So we get 4 different skewed lines to line AD. Now we could do that to each of the lines, but I think we get the general idea of what a skewed line is. Another definition, transversal. Intersects 2 or more lines, or a line that intersects 2 or more lines, or in a plane, so they do have to actually intersect each other. There can't be 2 lines that are skewed to each other on that. So here's our transversal. Line L, different color to lines M and N. But we find that all 3 of them would be transversals at some point, because lines go on forever and ever. So line M would actually at some point intersect line N, so therefore it intersect more than one line. But in this case, we're just going to focus on line L being the transversal. Now with that transversal, we get 8 angles. So we're going to really focus on the angles in this chapter that those lines create. And we need to come up with some terminology for those. So here's all the different relationships you're going to see, and then we're going to name them all here. The first ones, 3, 4, 5, 6, are in between lines M and N. So in between, we call those interior angles. Now we won't ever just call an angle pair interior angles, so we can kind of cross that out of our mind, but we get the idea. I just wanted you to focus on what we're looking at here. So now we get into 3 and 5 and 4 and 6. Now they're on opposite sides of the transversal, or the line L here. Well, we call those alternate interior angles. So this is more of what we're going to be labeling the pairs as, is being more precise than just saying interior angles. We want alternate interior angles, or if they're on the same side, we're going to call them consecutive interior angles, as 4 and 5 and 3 and 6 are. Again, 1, 2, 7, 8. Well, the other 4 are interior. These are on the outside, so they're exterior. Again, we won't just label them just as exterior angles. So we want to understand what exterior angles are, but we don't need to necessarily label anything as exterior angles. So 1 and 7, 2 and 8. Again, opposite sides of transversal, so alternate exterior angles. And then 1 and 8 and 2 and 7. Now, consecutive might be wrong terminology, same side. Our book really doesn't even have this in it, but there is a relationship there. And in 3.2, we're going to talk about the special relationships that these pairs have when the lines are parallel to each other. So I do want you to be aware of that, because it will help you out seeing the relationships. 1 and 3, 2 and 4, we should know those. Vertical angles, here they are in chapter 3 again. We've had them in chapter 1, chapter 2. Vertical angles, kind of getting a heavy dose of those. Better make sure we understand what vertical angles are. And then angles 1 and angle 2, they're on the same line, or they form on the line, so therefore a linear pair. They're adjacent to each other, and they're going to be supplementary adjacent angles, so linear pair is those. So we've had vertical angles and linear pairs, so those should be nothing new terminology for us. Might just need to recall that information, what they are. Now the last one, angle 1 and angle 5, 2 and 6, 4 and 8. Well, let's say we're driving a car down line L here, and we come across angle 1 and angle 5, and really at angle 5, the first one we see, there's a McDonald's there on that corner of the intersection. And angle, as we travel down line L towards this next intersection, we see a Burger King at the corner where angle 1 is. Well, the reason I'm kind of focusing on the corner is they're actually called corresponding angles. They're at the same corner of the intersection, corresponding. Now, is corresponding angles the same as corner? No. Another way to think of corresponding angles is if you could pick up this intersection or that whole line and place it down right on this, you'll see that angle 1 and angle 5 would land on top of each other. They're corresponding that way, so that's another way you could view that too. So make sure you have all these copied down into your notes. If not, hit pause and do that now. Transversals, on this page where all we're doing is trying to focus on what the transversals are of these three questions. So angle 4 and angle 11, which I just erased, angle 4 and angle 11, they're along the same transversal, and obviously not L and K, but line M. So line M would be the transversal there. For 5 and 13, that'd be line N. And then see if you can figure out number 3. But number 3 would be line K. All right. So, and some of your worksheets today, or that goes along with this lesson, will ask you a question, name the transversal and the pairs. Well, here I just wanted you to focus on just the transversal. Now, identifying the pairs, that's what we're going to do from 4 to 12 here. I would like you to hit pause, try to figure those out, and see what you come up with. Quick little hint, there is one of them that's no relationship or has none, no identification to it. So go ahead and pause and try to work that out. All right, so here's our answers, okay? You'll see that number 11 is the one that is no relationship, or it doesn't have any relationship. And if you look at where angle 8 and angle 12 are, they're marked up there in the corner. But there's no common transversal. They're both on two different lines. K and M is angle 12, and then angle 8 is along L and N. So no common transversal, so therefore there's no direct angle relationship that we have. So there's your information for this section. Make sure you try to do the worksheet. Come with questions, ask questions. Make sure you get all your questions answered, and so you can thrive through this chapter. Thank you.